This one strategy changed my entire business and helped me scale from 2 Airbnbs to 75, generating over £4 million per year. It's so simple and straightforward, I can't even understand why no one else in this space is teaching this.
Sheesh, do I have to do everything myself?
And so in this video, I'm going to show you what the strategy is and how you can use it to get your Airbnb business started growing faster and easier than ever before. And if you want a blueprint on exactly how to implement it, just click the link below. To start, I'm going to show you the problem that most people come up against when they're wanting to start an Airbnb business. Imagine you wanted to become a pilot, and to fulfill that dream, all you had to do was fill out an application form just like a normal job. You'd go to the interview, tell them about all the reasons why you love planes and how you think you'd be so awesome at the job. And if they like you, you get the job and they send you off to start training while you're getting your $134,000 salary. That would be cool, but in reality, the upfront cost that pilots have to pay for their own training is upwards of 100K. And it's the same with Airbnb.
What do you mean?
Property is expensive, and even if buying it with a mortgage, the deposit can be out of reach for a lot of people. And especially for those really good properties that you know are going to earn the most money. The barrier to entry is just so high that so many people don't even get off the ground. Get it? Next, I'm going to show you the strategy that most people turn to, and it's the one that most educators in this space teach. And I'm also going to show you that why for most of you, it will just never work. Imagine you were selling an old chest of drawers and you listed it online for 100 quid. And you start getting all these phone calls from these antique dealers who say they want to buy it because in actual reality, once they fix it up and sell it, they'll be able to make 1,000 quid. Now, even though you only wanted 100 quid for it, the knowledge that they're going to make all that profit off your chest of drawers makes you think, I'll just keep it. And that's even though you don't have the slightest idea of how to fix the thing up for yourself. This is the harsh reality of rent-to-rent or Airbnb arbitrage. And I've spoken to so many of you who have done these trainings or bought the course and been taught in a way that seems so simple and straightforward, but actually in practice is like banging your head against a brick wall. And if this sounds familiar, comment brick wall below. Simple fact is, property owners do not like the idea of someone else making loads of profit from their property. But they aren't the only roadblocks that you come up against with this strategy. Letting agents are almost always the gatekeepers in between the property owner and you. When you phone up and you say you want to rent this property and do Airbnb or serviced accommodation or company lets, they don't even let you finish your sentence before they're saying no thanks. They've already had half a dozen phone calls today from people who have done the same course as you and are reading the same script as you. But why are they so against it? It's not their property after all. Well, they lose either way, because think about it. If you do a great job, the property owner realizes they don't need them anymore. So they get cut out and they lose their commission. And will certainly lose the tenant finder fees every 6 or 12 months. And if it goes wrong and you mess it up, well, then their client's property could be trashed by partiers, or you could end up having to hand it back after 2 months. I've spoken to people who had to make 30 calls a day for months before they finally got offered a property. And they were so desperate for a yes that they took a property that didn't make any money, or they took one where they paid above market rent. But they were just so hungry to get going. But now they're locked into an expensive lease that they can't get out of, and they've had to pay massive upfront costs to try and polish the turd that they were given. This whole strategy is toxic, and I feel so bad for those that have been sold the dream, but in reality turned out to be a nightmare. But don't worry, now I'm going to show you the exact strategy to flip this entire thing around, where you don't need any money and you end up with property owners literally throwing their keys at you, in a nice way of course. Now let's go back to that chest of drawers that you own. Imagine with your newly found knowledge that you're actually sitting on a gold mine, but with the added knowledge that you have no idea how to restore furniture, nor do you have the time or inclination to learn. And then someone tells you about this business where you give them your beat up furniture, they fix it up, sell it, and then split the profit with you. You literally don't have to do anything. You'd be like,
Hell yeah.
and so how do we apply this to Airbnb? Well, it works like this. When you set up a property management company or a co-hosting business, you and the property owner make money together through a profit share. But how is this more attractive to property owners than say rent to rent or just standard tenants? And how does it work so well for us? Well, let me explain with a simple acronym called DICS. The D stands for Distinguished Status. Property owners enjoy elevated prestige and status in their own heads. They're earning sexy Airbnb money without dealing with any of the daily operations, guest interactions, or any of the other stress and hassle that comes with it. They basically get to show off down the pub and all their mates think they're cool.
It's a little bit of a contest.
But it also makes us, the operator, appear like a money machine, and all they want to do is keep feeding us properties. And all those mates down the pub, they want to give us the properties too. I stands for increased earnings. Now with you working your ass off running this business, the property owner is going to make more money than they would from Airbnb arbitrage or from normal tenants. But crucially for us in this strategy, all running costs like cleaning, maintenance, booking site commission, all of that stuff is charged back to the client. So for us operators, it's an extremely lean model. There's basically no outgoings for us. And remember, there is no fixed liability of rent, so basically our margin is pure profit. C stands for clear and consistent communication. As the property manager, you're going to provide transparent reporting, updates on how the property's going, and clear lines of communication so the property owner always feels up to speed and knows just how the property is performing. K is keep capital investment low. Management companies have no heavy upfront investments. The owner already owns the property, and since we're just managing it for them, they are the ones who are responsible for any renovation or redecoration costs at the start. And because of this, there's no cost for us to get started, so we can just keep plugging properties in instantly. And S stands for shared risk. Profit share model means that the property owner and us as the operator share the risk together. We basically win and lose together. With the arbitrage model, even in those quiet times, you still got to pay that rent. Whereas in this strategy, they know that if you're making money, well, that means they're making more money. Next, I'm going to show you how it all works in practice so you can get those property owners lining up to do business with you. All you've got to do is start getting the word out that you're looking to start managing other people's properties for Airbnb. Once you start talking about how you manage for other people and you only take a commission, then the mental block in those property owners' heads just falls down. It's no longer this person's going to make loads of money from my property, but this person is going to make me loads of money with my property. You're no longer a threat. You're that money machine firing money into their bank account. But how do you find these property owners? In reality, there are tons of ways to make these connections. For a start, go to property networking events, talk to people, build relationships, build rapport, talk about what you want to do. Use social media to get the word out, talk about the services that you're going to offer. Get my Airbnb success blueprint, link below. Learn how to actually run the business. Research areas that you know are going to be successful. You can use a tool like AirDNA so that when potential property owners ask you about stuff, you have real knowledge that you can provide actual upfront estimates of how much money they're going to make, because you need to be informed here, and there's more coming on that later. And then when you get in front of them, just pitch, tell them what you want to do. And actually, one of the clients who got my blueprint, link below, used it to prepare a presentation to a property owner that helped them secure the property. And look, if they need a little nudge to get them over the line because you're brand new at this, well, you can offer a slightly lower rate for the first quarter, the first 3 months, just to show them that you mean business. And if things don't go wrong, what have they got to lose? But how much should you actually charge these clients? Well, the way I like to think about it is, like in all walks of life, you get what you pay for. Your commission is going to be based on all the tasks that you're going to do for them. In my business in Belfast, we charge the highest commission in the entire city. But you know what? My clients know they get what they pay for. We have a team on the ground. We have about 20 cleaners. We have all the best tech. We have our little black book of direct bookings, and we have all the experience and expertise that we've built up. That's why we can charge the most. There are loads of cheaper options out there, but none of them have the expertise or the knowledge that we do. So for you to get started, research in your area, see what the competition is charging, and then because you're just starting out, just go a bit lower, like 1%, 2% lower. You're probably going to find on average, the rate is around 20%. We're charging 24. I know some people that charge 15. Next, let me show you why it is so important that you pick the right first property. Now, this is not the same as rental arbitrage. You will not be as desperate as you are currently if you're following that strategy. You're going to have lots of warm leads, people who are like, yeah, I know my property can make money on Airbnb. I can't do it. So they're going to give you good properties. You're going to have choices, options. And that's why your research piece is so important here. Because if you take on a poor property, to be blunt, you won't make any money and you'll look like an idiot. Be honest and upfront with these property owners. You're now in a position of being the expert. You've done your research. You know that their property won't make any money. So you have to say no. You're going to save yourself a very awkward conversation 6 months down the line. And also be honest with those property owners that brings you a good property in a good location, but it looks like inside. Tell them that if they want the big money, they have to spend the money to get it looking like the other places on Airbnb. In my business, we turn away around 99% of the properties that potential clients bring us. Like, it's huge amounts every year because we can afford to be picky, and so can you. The balance of power has shifted dramatically from the arbitrage method. And that's why you not only need to get a great property, but then you need to do a great job running it, because once you've been running it for 6 months, you can use those numbers to start showing to new clients about what you're actually doing now. And that's when you begin to get momentum. But it's not just the property you have to be picky over. I've worked with multiple clients who gave us good properties, but I had to hand them back because the client themselves was impossible to work with. They tried micromanaging us, and instead of trusting us that we know what we were doing, they thought they were the expert and were sending us emails and texts, change the rates on this, change this photo. They thought they knew how to do it better than we did. And so it's important to remember that this is a partnership that we're entering into here. You need to be able to work with the clients that you bring on board. Now, honestly, most you will never hear from, even when you pay them loads of money every month. And that's fine. Remember, they got into this because they wanted passive income. The ones that think they're the experts on Airbnb, it's best to just give the property back and tell them to do it themselves. But once you've actually got the property, that's when the real work starts. What do you actually need to do to ensure that you make yourself and your client loads of money? To learn that, you need to watch this video next. It's a 6-hour free course on how to make sure your property is the best and most profitable one in town. See you there.